Ladies and gentlemen, Scoop and EB, James and EB. I got to change my name. I got my official government name in there. But look, another edition of Unscripted. Ladies and gentlemen, we are here. It's Saturday morning. Thank you all for joining and tuning in. EB, how you living today, brother?
Not too bad, not too bad. Did a little beach walk, and yeah, it was nice.
Okay. Well, my gym has finally opened. So I was
Right.
there at 7 o'clock this morning, got a little something in. I may go back today, try to do some two-a-days. I'm an old man now. I can't just go out there and do it like we used to. But I am glad that we're starting to get back to some bits of normalcy.
Got to keep moving.
Got to keep moving. Look, today's gonna be a good show. We got some folks in the green room. Let me tell you something. We got some old school in the green room. We wanted to do a conversation with people who have not just lived in the contiguous 48 or the 50 U.S. states, but have actually lived abroad, wherever that may be, Germany, Italy, Japan, either for whatever reason, military family, or just had that fortune of having stamps in their passport. And we pulled together some folks. Don't you agree with that, man?
I think so. Yeah, I like the list. Some people I haven't seen in a minute.
So we gonna go ahead and I'm gonna shut up and I'm gonna let EV just run this because I'm just gonna sit back and just enjoy the fact that we got some of these winners here on. As we bring folks on screen, I would love for everyone to just say who they are and where they're dialing in from. We're gonna go ladies first, and I'm gonna make sure I don't get in trouble. I'm gonna go with Sister Norma Richardson. Oh, she over there messing with her camera. And Sister Norma, how you living? You all right? Oh, she done put us back on mute. Oh Lord, she don't know how to use this technology. You talking on mute, man. there, you, there you go. Come on now.
All is well.
There it is. Oh, there she go.
It's wonderful to have a granddaughter here that shows you how to use this modern
Right?
technology.
She like, oh, how you figure this? Oh, this N and WWW. No, that's all right. Roz Evans, talk to us.
Hi, I'm Roz Evans, and I'm in Abilene, Texas, hot Abilene, Texas. It's been over 100 degrees for a couple of days, but doing well, doing well.
Yeah, see, but that's humid too, right? I mean, you probably got some things out there. It's that it's not dry heat, right?
So this is straight dry. This not humid. It's dry. It's crispy dry.
I love that. He said it's crispy dry. Brother Sadiq, man, hold on. Let's talk first. First of all, let's talk about that background. It's almost like you've been there before. Like you do this, huh? Man's got his own.
Got that show going on.
Talk to us.
Exactly. I'm over here crime fighting, corruption, and all that other craziness that goes on in our country. But thank you guys for having me on the show. Kubasaki, class of '88, the class.
Oh, Dehi, don't start with that. Don't start with that. Where my Kadena folks at? Don't start with that.
Yeah, I think that's three of us, right? Oh wait, yeah, that's because well, Donovan is class of '88, and me and Roz are '85, right? That's right. That's right. I just posted a Senior Hill picture on Facebook not too long ago.
Well, let me see here. Donna, let me get her back on. There we go. And I see we got one person that's trying to dial in still. So, Donna Green, talk to us.
Hi. Okay, I'm Donna. I don't know if you can see me well because my picture looks frozen right now. And I keep getting knocked off for some reason. But I'm Donna Green, and my mom is Norma Richardson. She told me about your invitation for her to speak and asked me to sit in.
Oh,
Yeah, let's see. She bounced out there. Hope everything is all right. I know we got all kind of crazy weather here in this neighborhood, and I know where they are. So hopefully it's not due to some of the fires and all that we got going on. So hopefully she can get that taken care of. Hold on, class of '88. Okay, well she old school there. I don't want to say what year I graduated, but how you doing, Karen? Love you. So what's going on there? No, so we got folks that have traveled the globe a little bit and seen some things. Talk to us about how and why. No, so why were you guys at Kubasaki, and tell folks where Kubasaki is for the folks that are watching, trying to figure this out.
So basically, Kubasaki is in Okinawa, Japan. I went over there myself. Well, basically, I wanted to do a show about kids that were overseas and living overseas, what some of the challenges were, what some of the good things were, all that good stuff. So let's start with Kubasaki. Kubasaki is in Okinawa. If you don't know where that's at, it's in the Ryukyu Islands, right off of.
You need to go back to school if you don't. Well, I'm gonna stop.
Right below Japan. So, a lot of times Okinawans don't like to be called Japanese, but right now they are being, I don't want to say overseen or oversought or the language there is no longer Hogan. It's like Japanese. Like you can rarely find folks that can speak Hogan. But I see I got some of my fellow Kubasaki mates here. How were some of your experiences in Okinawa? Let's just talk about Okinawa or overseas. You probably been other places in Okinawa, but let's talk about it. How about you, Roz?
Okay, well, my dad was stationed in the military, and he got orders. We were living in Utah at Hill Air Force Base, and he got orders there. And at that time, I was pretty hot playing basketball, and I was about to go to a basketball camp, and was told we were going overseas, and it just broke my heart. I was like, I'm going in my senior year. I don't know none of these people. And so, but once we got over there and I got settled in, it took me a while to kind of get to know people. But once I did and I got settled in, I really enjoyed it. And I would not trade that for nothing in the world. It was the best experience I could have ever had.
Yeah.
How about you, Don? Oh, go ahead, Jane.
I was gonna say I'd be remiss. We got a young man here that had just joined on. Oh my goodness! I put him on screen and then he disappears. Donovan, let's go to you, brother.
Yeah, a lot of that happens depending on what kind of operating system they work in. It won't let you click in, so it just depends. There's a lot of factors to it. We get that all the time on my show.
And tech support,
But real quick, for me, my stepdad was in the Marine Corps Aviation Wing, and if you know anything about the Marine Corps, there's only 3 major aviation wings on active duty, and he was with the VMDR 152 there on Okinawa at Fatima. And then if you don't go to that one, it was the old El Toro base. And then, of course, you had Cherry Point, North Carolina. So we were limited to 3 basically bases that we could ever go with. And my mom being in the Army Reserves, that was like an area that she can go to and still do her time and all that other stuff.
Okay. Yeah.
Getting there in 1982, the Cold War was still going on. So we still had that old Vietnam type situation. Because if you've been to Okinawa recently, I was there 2 years ago. I try to go back every 2 years, by the way. I try to go back. And it's totally different than when we were there. Remember when the yen rate was like 300, 400 yen?
Oh, that was good money then. Yeah, that was some good money then.
It's totally different now. And it's more of a resort area now that they're building up there. So for us, and for my family, once our tour was over in Okinawa, sure enough, we right back up in El Toro, California, and that was pretty much a wrap for us. So.
Awesome, good stuff. Let me try this again here, Mr. Hicks. Talk to us now. You got some audio. We see you. You got some audio. Tell folks your experience of living overseas. I know it's extensive though.
Would you refer to a specific area or just a culmination of several areas? Tell me what.
Oh my goodness! See now you get granular. I'm just trying to say who are you? You know where you been, that kind of thing. Okay. The elevator pitch, right? You know the elevator.
Okay, I'll just make an introduction and leave it open for any questions because I have had an extensive career. I mean, when you spend 26 years in the Air Force, and travel over the world, so that's a lot of things, a lot of places you have been. As indicated, I am James Hicks Sr., and I have been from, let's just start from after my first basic overseas would be Vietnam. I've been to Japan. I've been to Europe. I've been to Asia, Pacific. I mean, where is it I have not been? I've been practically all over the world. Wait a minute. The only place I have not gone that I want to go is England, and I was too lazy to go across the channel. If I had to say all my travels in the Air Force, all my travels in places I've lived overseas, I would have to pick Germany as the place that I admired. My tour in Germany is the place I admired the most. And I guess the reason being is because when I was stationed in Germany, I did a lot of TDYs in various countries, and I had a lot of exposure to different countries and how they operate, countries and cultures, and I was well pleased with that. I was well pleased with that. And at this time, let me slow down for a second and let you present any question I may have. Could I get specific or I get detailed?
Oh my goodness! Oh my, we're gonna take us to school a little bit, right? I ain't mad at that. Okay.
But then, James and everybody, one thing I want to share with everybody before we go to the next individual, one thing I did learn, and I appreciate my son who he is. But when I was in Germany, we live off base in a town, in a community. It's pronounced Nara, N-A-U-R-T-H. I may be saying it incorrectly. And I used a lot of TDY, But one thing I found out is when you go to a place like that, you must remember that you are the guest and not the host. Where I've seen a lot of situations come up that weren't favorable is when we, as guests, come over and pretend to be the host, and that's not right.
Right.
I'll leave it alone.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because I mean I've seen it a couple of ways when I was in the military as well as being a high school student. You see people that just act out, and we can honestly say they're not being great ambassadors for the U.S. So and the funny thing is not even the funny thing, probably the bad thing is the sad thing is that that's what they'll always remember is that bad. You can't. You go there and you're a bad ambassador. That's like now, oh, those bad Americans. You hear that, and even in the military, when I was in the military, you see, folks that just kind of act out of character. That and I'm not saying I'm perfect or anything like that, but because I probably acted out as a kid, but you want to be a good ambassador, and I think I think you're right. You touched on that, and the funny thing, Roz had also mentioned that. When you live in the States and you're a kid, the first thing you hear is like, "Oh, we're going overseas." Yeah. It's like, "Oh my God, you're gonna come back and not speak English," But then once you go once, I'm telling you, like Donovan, you want to go all the time. I've been everywhere. The military has taken me everywhere. When I went in the military, I got to travel to a lot of amazing places. Speaking of Germany, you hear all I knew about Germany was that my picture when I thought I was going to go to Germany is going to be like black and white. It was going to be like, I went there, some of the best food, the beautiful countryside. Oh my goodness. So, I think sometimes when you experience those things, it makes you appreciate home, but you also appreciate being over there too. So, and I don't, if I can speak on Donovan, because, he's been there the most recent. I don't know who else has gone recently, but this guy, I lived through his videos when he went to Vietnam. I said, "How's this guy going to Vietnam? It's going to be crazy." Talk to me about Vietnam and what your experience was there in Vietnam, there, D.
Well, Mr. Hicks Sr., I can see why you guys did not mind going to Vietnam. Number one, it's a very beautiful country.
What do you mean? I don't mean no harm or disrespect. What you mean didn't have mine going? Hold on for a second.
Oops.
Hold on.
Yeah, he wasn't asked to go. The whole
Look here, I got mine August 12th of 1967. October the 1st of 1967, I was in Vietnam. I didn't have to go to Vietnam.
That might have been the best time to go.
You didn't open up a whole can now, Don. You didn't open up the wrong conversation, brother.
Well, here's the thing, though. See, and that's the same thing with my dad. My real dad was a Marine as well, and he had to go over there. And then he went over there, and a lot of our parents, they are all Vietnam era guys, right? And ladies. So they're over there, they're doing their thing. And you guys know what I'm talking about. Dad or mom comes back and they don't want to talk about it. They just don't want to say nothing. They got all the ribbons. They don't want to talk about it. So I figured, I said, you know what? I've never been to Vietnam. We've been to the Philippines. We've been to Korea to get our tennis shoes. We're right there in Southeast Asia. So I said, let me go over to Vietnam.
That fake polo.
Yeah, let me go over to Vietnam and see what my dad was talking about and see if I could visit some of those old spots that he was stationed. My dad was stationed in Pleiku. So I get over there. Well, before I go over there, I call my mom and I said, "Hey, Mom, I'm getting ready to go to Vietnam." She goes, "What are you going to Vietnam for?"
Yeah.
And I said, "I'm going to go look for some brothers and sisters. I might have some relatives over there, some cousins, right?" And so my mom's laughing, and she goes, "You want to go? You need to start in Pleiku. Start in Pleiku." So I went back, and I didn't find any relatives. And I'm telling you, a beautiful country. The food, the people are so nice, and I would recommend anybody to go back there, especially for the ladies. Vietnam is the Paris of the East, so they had stuff over there that was just amazing. And before this pandemic hit, I was supposed to go back to the Philippines, Oak Clark Air Base, because I hadn't been there since the eruption. And I love the Philippines, QB Point. I mean, just going back to our old haunts, because remember, Wagner High School doesn't exist anymore. All these great things, and here just 30-something years later, and to be able to go back and see what it was to what it is now, to me, it's just an awesome thing. Like I said, I did the South Africa thing, and that's what I wanted to do. I said, well, I'm just going to travel and just go to these places and see what's up.
Yeah. So let me. Yeah, go ahead.
Hey, Donovan, when you go back home, you ask your dad what he knows about the tennis of 1968, and you would definitely understand why I ain't got no desire to go back to Vietnam or anywhere close.
Look,
just remember the tennis of 1968.
Hey, AD, I don't take Dad to no Vietnamese restaurants. We is inksnay on the Vietnam. But let me bring it back a little bit again. And Sister Richardson, I'm glad you back online with us. So appreciate you there. And I'll start with you when it is, because a handful of us come at it from a perspective of kids growing up, going to schools there, and I think Roz and Evie, you talked about it as well, right? The fact that we got so many stamps in our passport at such an early age. There's pros and cons to that, though, right? Because one of the cons, I think, of growing up in a military family as a kid, and for me, I'm open about this, is that you never really got to be close to anyone throughout that whole experience. It was every year and a half. I'm going from California to Germany to Japan to Virginia, wherever the case may be. So you never really got that opportunity growing up to get close to folks. But I got to see all those places as I was growing up. And I know folks now, I'm 50 years old. I know folks who still haven't left their corner of Sacramento, California. So they just think they know about the world when they haven't even seen the world. So that's a huge disservice, I think. Talk to us a little bit about kind of your guys' perspective on that, in terms of how challenging was that for you growing up in a military family, and again having to be mobile so much. Roz, we'll start with you.
Well, I totally get what you're saying, and that's something that I had to deal with as I was raising my own children. Just having to move, every 3-4 years, not really being able to be stable and have those stable friends. And so was able to stay in one place and allow them to grow in one place and have the same friends from school. And that was a great experience to see. But I still wouldn't take away what I experienced being able to travel the country, because I wouldn't have been able to do it any other way if my father wasn't stationed there. And so just being able to go there, I was able to learn Japanese, being able to experience another part of the country and the beauty of God's creation. That was a blessing to me. I talk about it all the time and say, hey, I graduated from Kubasaki High School. And then while we were there, me and my sister came in the military on the buddy program. And my first assignment was Han, Germany. So I went to Germany, right after that, and just enjoyed just the beauty of the world from another perspective. The family connection that you get from military, you can never trade that. I could go anywhere and go into a BX somewhere and see somebody that I knew from 35 years ago, because that family connection never leaves you. And so I think that's a good thing that I learned as an individual growing up, and I was able to teach the same thing to my children, that we're going to be family no matter where we are or who we are. So I appreciate the experience.
I love that point, but you did use some inside lingo there, and I want to make sure that folks outside of our circle understand what the BX is. Tell folks what the no, everybody here knows what that is, but the civilians may not know about.
Base change. That's like the Walmart of the.
There it is. There it is. That's the military mall.
You gonna see everybody when you going to connect. Like, what up? Didn't I know? Wait, I know you from somewhere. I know I seen you somewhere. So yeah, that's what the BX is. Sorry, I didn't mean to use that. Just went back in time.
No worries. I'm gonna use another one before I ask Miss Richardson. So Dad, what's your favorite place? Not the BX. What's your spot? We know what your spot. I know.
First, let me tell you, I'm having a hard time staying connected. But
okay.
Anyway, my favorite place is the commissary.
There it is, the commissary. That's what I'm talking about.
That's what I'm talking about.
That is the grocery store. That's your Ralph's.
Oh, she fell off. She fell off. Oh. Is she on a Sprint phone? No.
I think Roz made a good point too. Roz made a good point, because I'm telling you, not even just staying within the military, but I've met people outside of the military. I kid you not, I've traveled everywhere, Florida, in the States, everywhere I've gone. I'm not lying. Every place I've gone, somebody has come up to me. Are you Eric? Did you go to school in Kuwasaki and Okinawa? I'm like, get out of here. And everywhere I've gone. So it's almost like Roz is right. Your family has extended. And, as far as being close to somebody and getting that closeness, you're really like that even if you stayed in one place, because you have people that are close to you, friends, and then you have people that you meet and acquaintances. I get the fact that you're talking about, having roots and kind of being grounded, but I wouldn't have it any other way. I feel like I was able to raise my kids in a way that was more open. They're a little more. I feel like they got a little more stability, understanding, because two of my kids were born overseas and two of my kids were born in the States. And it's like I'm able to share my experiences and be open. Not open, but I mean by like open-minded with people and caring about other people and having an understanding, because pre going to overseas, you're like, oh man, you're gonna come back, they're gonna make you speak Japanese. I'm like, it's not like that. It's not like that. So it's to me, right, like Ross says, it was a blessing, and then having my extension of friends, no matter where I go, friends from the military, friends from school, I feel like it makes the world so much smaller. It's like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. And James, you went to Kadena. We've gone to Sacramento. I'm in LA, so guess where you can go. You can come up to LA, and I can go to Sacramento, and we can go all over the place. We can we have a friendship. And Donovan's like right in the back door. It's San Bernardino.
I love it.
I'll say back door because he's in. It's like it's hard to get in there, man. I said, man. He's like, come visit me. I was like, man, there's only one way in this place. And I was like, ain't no other trap. I could probably go there now because of COVID, but
I love it.
Can I say something in addition to what Eric was saying? Even though we were me personally was at Kadena for a short period of time and I left, I didn't get to connect with people as much as I could when I was there. Thank God for Facebook. Thank God for social media, because as a result of that, I've had, reconnected with them. We can see each other. We can see how each other have grown, our children. And so that is truly a blessing. But just the fact of meeting people, you stay connected, whether you get to see them all the time or not.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. I will say, I know I made a joke about Karen saying she was class of '88, but I'm just a little bit older than her as well. But it's tough here being with all these Kuwasaki folks, because I was part of the Kadena team that stole y'all mascot. Yeah, so we had. Well, see, there you go.
We really didn't say much. About Kuwasaki. The fact that we was on the same island, that's what matters. You know, we
look,
try to be rivals up in here, but if you want to go there,
yeah, we did. I showed this sneak on campus in the middle of the night with a crew, and we took y'all mascot. I'm not gonna say it was a good thing, but that the Panthers. What were you guys? Because Kadena was Panthers.
Dragon.
Yeah, we couldn't roll with them. Yeah, but we had a lot of love for y'all. I mean, a lot of good people there.
Yeah.
Let me do this, Miss Rich, because she continues to have some internet connectivity issues, and let me ask Sister Norma there your experience with this, right? Military family.
I want to share this with you. We moved. My children moved 3 times. Went to 3 different schools in 1 school year, and it did not change their education. They passed their grades and everything. They never missed a shot. So that was good. They started out in Amarillo, Texas. Then we went to Portsmouth, New Hampshire, Pease Air Force Base, and we ended up in Aviano, Italy. And they never missed a beat in their grades. So you can move around, and it doesn't bother your children educational. It's really good for them. But I enjoyed being overseas. My oldest daughter, went to boarding school. We were in Aviano, and she went 2 years to high school in what is it? Vicenza, Italy. I think it's Vicenza, Italy. She went, which is on the side of what is it? You know, I'm getting old now. I can't remember. But anyway,
Look, I can't remember what I did this morning. Don't worry about it. It's all right.
But anyway, so that's what I just wanted to tell you. Now, what were you going to ask me?
No, I appreciate it. And again, you actually answered it. You know, your experience, you know, where you kind of fit into this discussion, right? In terms of were you a military family as well? I know, but again, just for everyone's background, but you share that. And I think you made a good point that, yeah, I may have said I had a complaint about it, but I really didn't, right? Because having that experience and then being able to be more of being more of a well-rounded person by being able to go out there and seeing what it's like across the pond, across the ocean, or wherever the case may be, coming back home and then really appreciating what you have here, appreciating what's out there as well, right? And then I almost will say this now, it's probably going to get me in trouble, but I think folks who have had experience in the military or military family actually are better off in life. Just because, again, they know how to deal with different personalities. They know how to deal with different types of circumstances. You know, when stuff starts to jump off, if you've got that discipline and that grounding of that type of surrounding, you don't fly off the cuff, right? I mean, you just have more of a balance and a foundation because that's how your family was already brought up, right? I mean, you know, my dad was in the military 27 years, so he's got that foundation of combat, of service. Roz, you've got that as well, right? Of just being within the ranks and understanding that, you know, there's order. Right. So knowing those types of things in life, and especially the nerdy part, man, keeps you on that straight and narrow for the most part. I did some things, but I didn't do anything crazy to get me or my dad kicked off the island. Right. So and y'all know about that, right? We can go down to Gate 2 Street and act a fool if you want to, but don't do something that's gonna get your sponsor kicked off the island. Right, so there was always that conscious activity when you're going out there to George Washington's to party at the clubs out there in Okinawa that you knew better than to act too crazy.
And James, if I can say something, I hate that Miss Norma was knocked off because I really think that she provided some wisdom. And one thing that is key from a parent's perspective, there she go, Miss Norma. I'm getting ready to give you your props. I'm going to give you your props. But
she'll give you your flowers.
What I wanted to say from the perspective of Miss Norma is her being a parent. It's really key that a parent does their job in helping their children to process this as well. Because if a parent and are not stable in their marriage or in their relationship, that's going to have effect on their children as well. And so if the father is the military member and the mother is not, she has a key role of helping her children to understand, hey, dad is doing this. This is his purpose right now. This is his job right now. And then mom is going to help to maintain that home where when the children do need to move back and forth like that, she can help them to maintain their education. So I give the props to the parents too, because they have a job as well to make sure that we can process this, because we're children. We're good observers, poor interpreters. Like, you know, I was about to get a basketball scholarship. Like, what? I got to leave? But I don't understand, you know, so parents are key. Parents are
exactly.
key.
Well, let me jump in there real quick and just add on to that, because as a military brat, especially a Marine Corps brat, we looked at two Air Force kids and said they got grass to play on.
Yeah, because you were on Butler. Did you live on Butler?
No. Well, actually, I was on Kashaba, but before that, I was in Makimanaba.
Oh, wow. Okay, down there by the roller skating ring. Down there by the roller skating ring.
Right, they moved us down and all that other stuff, and you will find a lot of former Marine Corps brats join the Air Force.
Yeah.
We didn't join the Marine Corps.
Yeah, my dad was a Marine too. So I went the Air Force route. Yep.
Yeah. So you know what I mean. So like what Ross says, we observe and we see what is going on, and we say, hey, I could either, do this, and live on dirt, and my family, not that the Marine Corps is a bad thing, but their association with the family, I identified immediately the Air Force, if I had a family, would be better for me versus what the Marine Corps had to offer. So.
So Dad, talk a little bit about that, right? Because you were the one that had to do it, right? The TDYs, and I still remember a couple of times in the middle of the night, you kissing me on the head and then rolling off and being gone for weeks on end. So, talk a little bit about those experiences.
It's amazing you said that, but that came in my mind as I was talking. Let me back up for a second here. I need to give a platform to. Let's go back to Germany. Who was Cadenas, and I was involved in Cadenas because I was there. I was a member of the DR's Board of Education Board, whatever. Yeah. When we were
get it right. What you talking about?
Germany. When we were in Germany, I did a lot of TDYs. I went all over Europe. One of the things that really put me at peace at mind, was that when I left, my family, James, my wife, they were very well taken care of. I did not have any qualms about their ability of taking care, because the people in the community surrounded them, and when they surrounded them, they took care of them. As a matter of fact, I think one time somebody gave us a rabbit. I mean, they gave us all kinds of things, let us know they appreciate us. And during that time, the level of confidence they gave me, when I had time off, I would go down to, I'm going to tell you, the gas house. That's where I go down and drink the beer and schnapps and have fun on weekends and so forth. So I would go there and I'd get with the fellas. And as a matter of fact, they liked me so much to stick me to the still. And when they saw I could drink that right off the still, I became a favorite person, Mm-hmm. So one Saturday, a guy came to me and says, hey, we're going to rebuild this church. I don't know anything about rebuilding the church or whatever. That Saturday and the remaining Saturdays, I got out there with them, and they were just surprised at me, astonished that I got out there in mud and concrete and helped polish and everything and refurbish this whole church. So I guess about 6 months later, sometime later, I get this invitation. This invitation was to the dedication of this church we rebuilt. Do you know, if you were not part of the crew that actually did the work, you could not come? Now, let me tell you what's really unique about that. I'm not bragging, but I got to tell you about this. What's unique about that, when I was at this presentation, they presented me with a medallion and a certificate, and it's called Zwei Bürgermeister. In Germany, the Burgermeister is the mayor. Zwei Bürgermeister is number 2 mayor. The make-believe, something they created. And you know what that did for me? If my friends came to visit us in the town which we were living in, and we decided to go over to the gas house, do you know, while you were there with me, you did not pay for anything? Mm-hmm. Now, when we had to go shopping for Christmas or whatever, I knew very little German. I knew how to say beer, schnapps, and whatever. But
Oh.
James Jr., having living with a family, and he playing with the kids and so forth, he would actually speak German almost fluently. I would always say, "Son, what is that? And how you do that?"
Hey,
I knew
I
what it
still
meant.
I still got them numbers down. You know, eins, zwei, drei, vier, fünf, six. Look, no, I still know them numbers now.
That's
You
crazy
know,
that you say
even
that.
though
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
even though it appears that our favorite German, I had some good time. I saw a lot of years, but I really want to go back to something I heard James say a moment ago, and I think I'm hitting it all over again. Had we not, had I not had the chance to take my family to the various locations in the world through the military, we would probably be sitting here in Sacramento and hadn't gotten to what's called the North Highlands yet. So all
Yeah.
the time I spent in the military wasn't always pleasant. But you know what? When I look at the big picture, and I think we are truly blessed because that time in the military allowed James Jr. also to be faced with different challenges and situations, and the manner in which he has handled those that I'm aware of, he's done extremely well. So I got to give the military a hit on that. I got to give the
Yeah.
military a hit on that. Because like you all said, now you don't want to be doing things that going to have the sponsor and you all kicked off the island. So there
Yeah,
was some
man.
discipline there, in some place. Like I said, I go on and on and on. I needed to pass that off because we did have you talking about the BS and the commissary? My wife loves the BS. She loves it so much that she got to work it in the BS.
Yeah, she probably. I think isn't she there right now? I think mom's at the BX right now. Oh Lord, yeah.
No, she's in the shop. But we have shoes right now that she is so worn that she bought
Oh,
in the
there
shoe
you
store.
go. See, you didn't put her out there on front. You know,
Put that business out there.
still got the price tags on it. Hey, y'all remember China Pete? Look, y'all,
Yeah,
yeah,
yes,
y'all.
Oh, try to Pete. And
Day
the
two
video
street.
store.
Yeah, that was some
Yeah,
good
it
time.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'll
Sanabi
be quiet
Seawall.
for a second.
We can go on and on. Moromie Street. Where do we go? What was our a lot of proms were at oh my god, what's that? It was the north of the island? Actually towards Makamanado. What was that? A lot of the proms. I think Kadena had their
Oh, yeah, it was like
Kona,
the
Noah,
Hilton.
Kona Park or
Yeah.
something like that. Yeah, one of the major places out there. And then we can always talk about all the clubs. I mean, but think about it as children, as not grown ups, because we were in high school, we were kids. It was safe. I mean, like James Sr. was saying, is that it was really safe for us because how many kids were out there? I mean, for me, I know there was drugs out there. Like the only drugs I knew of that were in Okinawa, like some of the, kind of, there's kids that got into kind of stuff they were smoking and stuff, but they got into like cough syrup and stuff like that. But I never heard of nobody taking cocaine. I never heard of nobody taking heroin. So we were safe. We're kind of not being exposed to all that. I mean, because we were going to the clubs, we were going to 8 Beat, New York, Manhattan. And I hope James will get in trouble, but I mean, we were out there but we were safe. We were dancing. It was almost like it was like a teen center for us, even though there was a Casinas teen center. But I didn't feel, but then again, kids never have that fear. You know what I'm saying? They would always. I remember we would dive off EK Bridge at night, and never have a fear. Now I just walk the beach and thinking somebody's gonna get attacked by a shark. So, but community is huge, and I think being in the military, even we had civilians because what was this? They had CKS and they had OCS was one of the Christian schools out there, and so there was like civil service folks that were still part of that community. So I think that was huge. It was huge. Did kids get in trouble? Yeah, but to the extent of what a lot of children were doing in the States, I think I felt like it was safe. I said, it wasn't perfect, but it was safe. I felt.
Yeah. Well, adding to that real quick though, see, whenever I try to explain to like local people where I'm at, how that experience was, okay, I'm the class of 88. You guys class of 85, 86. I mean, you can have, a class super higher than you, super lower than you, right? A lot of people don't realize military schools were actually private schools. I mean, they're, that was private education actually. And because of our linkage, like I said, I haven't seen Roz in years, but because our parents were military linked, you could be 6 years behind me and I would know you because of our parents' linkage. And then when we get into the school, we all know each other from our school linkage, but we could be, you know, I look at kids nowadays, they kind of hang in their cliques and they, you know, okay, I'm a senior, the seniors hang together. You might have a junior in there, whatever. But with us, say Kubasaki, or I remember when Kadena opened. When Kadena opened, half of our alumni went straight to the other side. Straight to the other side, right?
Yeah.
So now you've got your compadres over there, but, you know, Kubasaki going from 7th to 12th, you know, it wasn't unusual for somebody to be a senior knowing a 7th grader. And you just accepted them as family and you just keep moving on and you're doing, you know, what's good. But the one thing I really miss is, well, I don't miss it because, like I said, every state I know somebody. But you go back to the rivalries as, you know, again, I'm at Kubasaki. Here's this brand new high-tech Air Force school.
Yeah,
and we're like,
all white too. Painted in just all white too.
Exactly. Yeah.
On the hill.
Yeah, I would go to my parents and say, "Well, how come we have to live like this and they get that?"
Yeah,
you know?
That's true.
But, you know, those dynamics were always in play because if your dad was a senior master sergeant or, you know, a major or whatever, it really didn't matter other than the group that you kind of hung out with and you hang with, you know.
Yeah,
that's true.
So we were hanging with the general's daughter, General Peterson's daughter. Well, go ahead.
Let me ask this, and again, let me bring Miss Richardson in why she's got stable internet connection.
I don't.
Going back to some of these places, right? I mean, we've talked, and you know, Donovan has talked about he's gone to a number of places as of late, and Roz has gone as well. But how is that? I mean, are these the type of vacations that since you've gotten out of the military and out of the service that you've taken your extended family to? You know, did you take your kids to Italy, right? Do you take your kids to Walt Disney World and Busch Gardens, that kind of thing? You know?
No. Well, when we came to California, we've been to Disneyland and Santa Cruz and all of that.
Yeah.
But I want to share one thing with you. During my years overseas, I was in France and Spain and Italy and Germany. But when we were overseas, of those 7 or 8 years, I always lived on the economy, lived in the American commune. And because I wanted my children to get the feel of
I think we lost her again.
We lost her. That's unfortunate because she's definitely got some history that we'd love to continue to have. So let me ask you guys this, right? So Roz, you know, I mean, we can't travel right now, but when some of that opens back up in terms of having the ability again of do you go to, so you're in Texas? Do you just keep folks around there? Do you send folks to the West Coast or Florida, or do you actually say, you know what, let's go ahead and get on that plane, let's go check out Germany, let's go see these places that I was stationed at or that I've had experiences with? I mean, what's your thoughts about that? I know right now, even without COVID, well, part of COVID, they don't want no Americans coming into their country right now anyway, and I'm setting this statement up because there was those issues that happened on the island of Okinawa, where there were some military folks that raped some locals there, and they were not. Look, if you looked American, sounded American, don't come on the island because you might end up missing off the seawall, right? So what's your thoughts about that? You know, from when you start traveling again, are you going to probably take your family to Okinawa or what?
Well, let me preference this first. I have 5 kids, and so
they stay at home.
Yeah, they can't all go space A no more, right? You know, it's no longer space A. Yeah.
Well, one of the things about me is I never wanted the fact that I had 5 kids to limit me from anything. And so my kids have traveled to almost 30 states. I love travel. I've always loved travel. So we'll get up and go in a minute, and we load them all up, me and my husband. So they have been to several places in the United States because we're here in Texas and our family lives in South Carolina and Georgia and North Carolina. So we have driven across, I can tell you every state, every stop. So ever since they've been little, they have traveled. And so that has been a blessing that I've been able to give them because I traveled. We were right before COVID hit.
Oh, wow.
We were on our way to Hawaii and had to cancel that. And then when we heard about the reunion of Kubasaki, my daughter was like, Mom, I want to go. You talk about it all the time. And so I just have the mindset of not allowing anything to limit me as far as travel of my children. And so they have experienced some things, and I want to take them overseas as well. But, I had to wait till they get a little bit older because, 5 on a plane, which we've done it. When they had their, each one of them for their graduation gift, I asked them where they wanted to go. And so took them to New York. They've been to Mall of America, went to Disney World. So I appreciate that fact that God allowed us to do that. We weren't rich, didn't have a lot of money, but I did not allow anything to limit me. So I'm looking forward to them going overseas as well.
That's good. And I'm quite sure they appreciate that because again, just getting out there and just being with the family and especially seeing different sites. They soak it in, but again, they probably ate up everything, and then you're like, man, y'all not contributing to the bottom line here, but y'all sure are. Y'all sure. I'll leave that alone. Donovan, talk to us about that. You doing some traveling still in your world. What's next on your agenda for your itinerary?
Well, for me, been a lot of places. My Air Force career, in myself, outside of my parents. And by the way, Mr. Hicks Sr., thank you for your service and putting us as brats in a position to have a bigger perspective of the world other than the United States, our neighborhoods, and all that other stuff. Because without you guys at the time serving, when you served, we would have never, a lot of us wouldn't have this opportunity. So because of that, I figured, hey, you guys were old school and, I can't stay here. I got to do something, right? Say, hey, how bad could the military be? I've lived this whole life. Let me go do some time. Right. It opened up a lot of doors for me. So in my career, 24 years serving in the Air Force, been to a lot of places and loved it. But for me specifically, haven't done a lot of traveling in Africa. And as a Black person, I need to go there. I mean, I've been all over Europe. I've been all over Asia, and I love Asia. Don't get me wrong. I love Asia. That's my go-to spot. But lately, my next adventures, I just got back from South Africa this time last year. We're going to hit Ghana. We're going to hit Zimbabwe. We're going to go to Uganda. We're going to just hit the African thing so that I can say, hey, I've hit all the continents and learn a little bit about some African culture. Like I said, all the cultures are great. Like I said, I can tell you all about the Asian culture, love it. But, I got to kind of learn a little bit about my own culture as well. So that's where it's going to put me next.
That's true. I'm actually me and my wife are actually supposed to start off in Morocco in November, but there's this pandemic thing that's happening. I'm not sure you heard about it, but there's some things going on around the world right now, and unfortunately, it doesn't look like we're going to get to make that trip. But hey, look, everybody's got to go home, wherever that is. Yes, sir.
I got a question for Donovan because I hear him. He spent 20 some odd years in the Air Force. Have you considered space age travel?
No, because unlike space age when back in our day and your day, they leave passengers. They don't want to deal with this retirees. There aren't that many bases open like they used to be. So I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just saying there's not a lot of bases because I was air crew and I did a lot of flying, but it just isn't advantageous to the bases anymore because the bases have restricted and you really don't have a lot of spots. So I want to get there and then get back. I mean, I was telling Eric a couple years ago when I went to Okinawa that one time. I mean, I got a ticket for $500 round trip. $500.
Oh wow!
Out of LAX.
Okay.
Now, so.
Okay, I do understand what you're saying because on space age travel, you need to be in a rush and you need to be patient. One of the things I learned, I do a lot of space age travel through the United States. I had a friend of mine that kept coming back from Maryland to California. I said, man, you be spending a lot of money on airline tickets, And he says, no, I tried space age. And I found out to fly, they say, is a comfortable thing for me because I set in mind I'm not in a rush to get there. I'm not in a rush to get back. And now, before I leave you all with this story, if we didn't have this pandemic, I had my wife, she gets on me right now about this because I told her I'm going to get on an airplane and just fly. She told me you can go by yourself. I said, you know.
So hold on now. You're using some inside code words as well. Space A. Go ahead and define space A for the civilian folks.
Space available.
And what kind of seats you sitting in? What kind of plane? Yeah, you can't just leave some of these bits out, right? Because everyone else thinks that you're just jumping on like a United 737. No,
I think it's unavailable. I think whatever is available, whatever they have space for. Because I've gone on, when I've taken Space 8 in the past, either a C5 141, but I've been on a 130 and those little cargo net seats.
There you go. Yeah, don't leave that out, right? You in a cargo plane in a jump seat with a box lunch. A little bit different than United and Delta. You know, a little bit different.
But hey, what's that saying? $10. That's an inside joke. That's an inside joke.
Yeah, once it gets to altitude and it's leveling out, flying, you can get out of that jump seat, go get on top of that pallet, spread out, you're good.
Maybe the crew can.
Yeah, it depends on what's in that pallet. You don't know what's in that pallet. So
I was like, man, is this plane gonna fall? I worked on a 130 when I was in the Air Force, and I love that plane. I mean, that plane is a workhorse. I ain't even lying.
Yes, indeed.
But it's loud.
Yes,
it is loud. And it is, it's not comfortable.
My husband is listening to you, Eric, and he's in the background saying amen.
Did he really? Yeah.
So he know.
Workhorse.
Yeah, he know.
I remember doing maintenance like this. I couldn't see what I was even working on. but that plane, I love it. Man, there is nothing like that 130. You can land on a dime. I mean. Yeah.
So let me ask you the question, though, EB as well too, because everyone else asked. So in terms of when the world opens up again, what's your thoughts on travel? Are you?
I'm traveling now. Ain't no COVID out there. No. For me, I think what we're trying to do, we're trying to get some cruises together. I know we were trying to get the family together and do some cruises. We're trying to do this Alaskan cruise because we've been hitting. We're doing this Pacific cruise. I want to start going on some cruises on the other side. Trying to get to some of the islands and down on that side, Puerto Rico down there.
Yeah.
But I really want to get back to when you guys went on that Paris trip. I got to talk to Tall Boy and say, hey, what's that balling in a dime? How'd you get to Paris again?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I definitely want to, like I said, for me to get my travel stuff, I was going to Donovan's site and saying, man, look at this guy all over the place. I was like, man, but Vietnam wouldn't have been my choice. But when I saw you were actually in a nice hotel. And I guess I was going to make that another point. A lot of times in our minds, we got this vision of what we think it's going to be like. I remember like going overseas. I remember when in third grade, I was in Indianapolis. We were going to school, and we had to learn German. They actually had a class on teaching German because everyone was scared there was going to be a German attack or whatever it was. I don't remember that. But so I'm thinking in my mind, I had this picture of Germany in my mind that was like, oh my God, I don't want to go there. It's going to be horrible. And it was the most beautiful place. I'm probably the best. I don't drink alcohol now, but man, the alcohol was good. The food was amazing. Oh my gosh. It's.
I love it.
I guess stepping out of that comfort zone is the best thing that ever.
Yeah.
I do it all the time now. It's not even a thing. It's like if I'm uncomfortable, I'm still going to do it.
Yeah.
But
and people got to realize the cost of going to these trips now. It's really not a lot. I mean, it's comparably. If you really want to go, you can go. It's doable. When I got to Vietnam, eating, there's food everywhere. It's like being in the Philippines. You can just go pick it off the tree. It's just everywhere. So
wow,
it's doable.
That's true, and I think once the world opens back up, tourism that's still available will open up and be more accessible to folks. Right? Hey, we need you to come back to Costa Rica. We need you to come back to Guam and the Philippines because we've missed that because that's that huge revenue aspect of what a lot of those places are. I'm loving the backgrounds though, Don. I mean,
Yeah,
you got my Panthers right there right now. I wish I had a yearbook. I should have pulled out a yearbook or something to reminisce a little bit about that type of stuff.
No, you don't want to do that because I had my Jerry curl back then, and yeah.
I think all of us did.
We can definitely go back when I had the Playboy, the fake Playboy suit that we got from Korea. You know, so flying. Oh my goodness!
Members only jackets.
we don't have time for that because Lord, don't trying to forget that type of stuff. Trying to forget that.
But it's a treat seeing you guys on here. You know, just being overseas. I was hoping like, you know, maybe Cliff and some other people, because these are people that I actually was in North Carolina with. Went from North Carolina and then went to Okinawa. They actually followed. So Cliff ended up from North Carolina, from Lejeune, ended up in Okinawa. So there's people that I've known like back. David Brown, Raj, you know David, and you know these guys, and it was just amazing to see them, you know. And then, like I said, it makes it a small world, you know. Just growing up, the military makes it a small world, and I really appreciate what the military does all the way around as a community. The service that they do, it's been a treat. And I mean, you guys look amazing. I'm telling you right now, I know we're in our 50s. Donovan, you might be young, but man,
Black don't
you guys,
crack.
man.
There it is. Watch out now.
What?
There it is. Looking good.
You guys look amazing. Amazing.
Trying to live clean, live a good life. Look,
Mr. James look good. Look at him up there in the
well,
corner.
let's zoom in on him. Let's zoom in on him. I see you, boy. we see you, sir.
I need some more thing that you all are probably not aware, but you're going to eventually learn this, and that is the attitude veterans have toward each other. Good case in point. When I fly space, I don't know those people on that airplane, but all of a sudden we have become one big family, you know, and it's truly amazing. People from all over the world, and they have this one thing in common, that they are veterans. So I think it's truly a blessing for any and every one of you who have been connected with the military in some form or fashion. Probably during the time you were there, it was a little different. But if you sat back and you process what took place and what you endured and where your mindset is right now, it wasn't totally bad. Look at my son, dog.
I'm gonna just drop the. We dropped the mic right there. No, I'm gonna say, but see, you know, I'm that. My mind never stops because we've all given the props forever to folks that have served in the military. We know the challenge and we know how hard that is. We know the struggle. We know the commitment. The majority of this country hasn't shown that approval or that respect until when? And I know the answer, but I'm gonna ask you guys: when did the United States of America really start showing respect for the military? It was 9/11. It was 9/11.
Was it really?
That was when you think about it. So, Dad's era, Vietnam, Korea, all the conflicts. No one really took the time to understand and respect the military. They thought it was a necessary evil, or a necessary thing that had to happen. But folks didn't really start recognizing, we need this military until they came over and started attacking us on homeland. That's when you started. That's when folks started saying, "Thank you for your service." Folks outside of the military community, right? Everyone in the military will always go give you the dap, give you a shake, and say, thank you, brother, for doing what you did. Thank you, sister, because you did what you did. But not until that time did folks start respecting and really appreciating folks in the military. So we've been doing it for a long time, but it's unfortunate it took that type of an activity for the rest of the country to catch up. But so I mean, that's kind of something that I start thinking about when folks say that, right? Again, because we know this, and this is second nature to us, but it's unfortunate again that it took such a dramatic instant to happen before the rest of the society and the rest of the country started saying thank you to our military veterans. Now start taking care of them, right? Getting a little more VA benefits, and because that's a whole nother conversation, right? Y'all having a hard time getting your just due. Not just your money, but your medical, your financial aid for your kids and all that stuff. Those types of things should be just right there in front of you, as opposed to you going through all the red tape to find the resources. So I know my dad is really keen on helping his buddies and the folks that he works with on that. We may have that conversation coming up soon as well. And Roz Donovan may invite you onto that, because you're in that conversation as well, right? You know that, and
absolutely. I mean, that really is key. That's the problem. The information isn't getting out there. But I definitely am telling people, because I got my 90%. And trying to go for that 100.
Right? And why is it so hard for you to get that? Right? I mean, right. when you should just be able to call up the VA and say, look, I did this, I served this, I suffered from this, X, Y, and Z.
Because selling it to you is not hard. Right? And then when it's time to pay, that's like anything. But it's like anything. It's like, okay, now we got to deal with the red tape of getting this. Why? I mean, why is tragedy the only thing that can bring us together?
Yeah.
So, and it's in almost any case if you think about it. I don't know. We don't have all the answers. We probably won't get all the answers here, but maybe if we just keep having conversations, people will start listening. Who knows?
I tell you what, let's close on this, because this is an interesting question that Tallboy asked, and I don't know. This is an interesting question. I've never thought about this, but it's a different time. 2020 is crazy, and you got your boy over there in on the East Coast, on Pennsylvania Avenue, who's giving. Well, we can have a conversation about that too. Any of you guys see yourself dual citizenship, maybe, or going north, going somewhere else?
You know what? For me, as this conspiracy kept going, I'm not gonna lie. I said, "Hey, I'm gonna buy some property." I was born in the Philippines, so I got a lot of my family's in the Philippines. So, I was calling my aunt because she's a realtor over there. I was like, can I buy property over there? I thought about it, because think about how we're going, and but then again, that to me, I feel like it's copping out. You know what I mean? We have to. I do want to do stuff in the Philippines and have a little getaway there maybe, but I also want to make sure things get straightened out here, because any place, if I called any place home, it's here. Here has always been home. Yeah. So we need to clean house, and I think we're starting to. I think things are starting to happen. I think things are starting to become the light. All the police shootings. Oh, by the way, it was sad to hear about Chad
Boseman.
Yeah. So shout out to him because he was Black Panther.
Yeah.
Kadena High School.
He was our king, man.
That was exactly. When we were looking at comic books and when we were young, we were looking for heroes. And I'm not saying Black folks are looking. Every minority has their own hero. I didn't even know that. Did you know there's a Filipino superhero? Just about every culture has a superhero. So they're looking. That's called hope. Looking and wanting to keep that hope. So, have I thought about it? Yeah, I thought about it. But honestly, if we can keep hope alive and make this country better, like it was supposed to be, then I think that's I'd rather stay here and fix it. But in case I have an escape plan.
No, great point from you, and really, really good thought here from Milton. So thank you for providing that. Roz, let me ask you, and then we'll go up and around. But your thoughts on the question that the Tallboy has. Have you ever considered packing up?
I have not. I have not ever considered. This is my roots. This is my home. Even as when I was stationed overseas and when I was over there, I loved the time, but I missed home. I missed being able to get to my family quick. If I drive, I got to go 19, 20 hours, but still, I'm not going over some water. But I love travel of country. I love the language of country. I love all of that, but I love where I am here. And actually, my job right now, I work for the Social Security Administration. So I see a lot of refugees here. I see a lot of individuals who are coming from other countries, and the challenges that they have to go through to try to even just get a job or get citizenship, get a Social Security card. And just thinking about having to deal with that challenge if I was in another country, and then not knowing the language, the barriers, That's a lot to take in. And then not having that support. Like we have a lot of support systems here that are helping with refugees and those that are coming in through the social services, where I work. But do they have that in other countries? Will they have the same type of care for me if I go over there? So I hadn't considered it, no. But I mean, it's not an out, but it's not something I've considered.
Yeah. Mrs. Sadiq.
Well, like I said, and like I said, thank you guys for having me on the show today. But no matter how bad it gets here, this is still the greatest country going. I mean, I just have to put that out there. I mean, we got a lot of problems here. We know this, but we are one of the few countries that has such a diverse population. But have I thought about going overseas? With all my military buddies, living in all those different spots, living in bars. One of the best kept secrets of the military was in Panama. When I went to Panama for the first time, I was like, oh my God, there wasn't an ugly woman in this country.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah. He'll take it to the next level. So
yeah.
My kids are grown for me, so there's really nothing holding me here. But at the same time, this is home for me. But sure, I'd love to go out there for 6 months or a 3-month visa and just hang out and then come back and just kind of do my thing. But this is the greatest country going. We've got problems, and guess what? Eventually, those problems are going to be solved. So,
Amen. I like that point, Ms. Richardson. Why we got you? So the question that I was bringing up, folks, I don't know if you heard, was just and there was I'll pivot and going over there to Brother Hicks there. You don't mind traveling, but you're not the long term traveling. You do like to come back home, but I won't put answers in your mouth. What?
Well, I'm gonna be straight and honest with you, just like the wife I have. 53 years, ain't changing. I'm gonna stay right here.
You're gonna stay right there in your chair, and
right there. I've been able to compare situations here and there. And I think the best thing for me to do at age is live every day to the fullest and just say where I am. Thank you.
I love that, and that's a great way to wrap. So before I wrap, and we appreciate you for the idea, right, of having this conversation of bringing folks, because this is actually good for the soul, and this is a great conversation, and the fact that we locked down, can't physically go to each other and give each other hugs and all, we can reach out across the globe and have this type of conversation. We need to do this more. So, Roz and Donovan, you will be back on this show for sure. EB, hook it up, all right?
Thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it. This has been
definitely. And that's the idea, right? Just having this dialogue, having this collaboration, just having these conversations with folks that we care about. Hopefully the audience finds some joy, finds a laugh, learn something. Maybe in a couple of weeks, EB, we'll talk about the Burks Insurance Group. Because I'm throwing plugs. Look, I should be on retainer for your organization because I'm throwing plugs for you. But this is what we do, right? And I think honestly, people need to do more of this. And this is how I'll close. I think folks need to do more of this, of having dialogue with folks that they care about. And the world is missing this right now. And irregardless of what the conversation is, irregardless of what the topic is, just stay close. Take care of everything within your sphere of influence. Take care of friends, family, and also take care of yourself from a health perspective. So, EB, that's me, man. You got anything you want to close out with, brother?
I do want to close out. Donovan actually has a show, and I like watching his forum. He speaks with a lot of the not lobbyists, but your local officials, and plug your show, Donovan. Let them know where you're at and where they can find you. It's a great show.
Yeah, check it out. You can find us on Facebook Monday through Friday. We're known as the War Zone.
The War Zone.
It's right here on Facebook Live. Just go to my page, look me up, Donovan Sadiq. I usually share it, and we're dealing with trying to tell people there's a different way. You don't always have to be a Democrat or Republican. You have options. You have options out there. So, does Trump need to go? Yes, I believe he does. But if he doesn't go, then what? If Biden gets in, then what?
Yeah.
That's the question. So.
Okay, that sounds like something I might, I try to everybody knows where I stand. But and I try not to even. I don't even mention the man's name. That, like I said, is sitting in 1600 right now because I just can't do it. I'm gonna check you out. What's it called? The War Zone.
The War Zone. Check it out.
That's a good name too, man. Okay, I bet you get that. Oh man, I wish Sister Richardson was able to connect again, but Dad, definitely tell her thank you for jumping on and attending. Hopefully we can get her some more internet connectivity in the future to where we can have some more dialogue, folks. It's James, it's Scoop and EB. We out. This is Unscripted, y'all. Thank you. Be good to yourselves.
Have a good one.
Thank you.